got to talk about Los Tigres. So the Tigers are having what one might call a May slump. They lose the 3-game set to the Marlins in embarrassing fashion. They get shut out in back-to-back games. Uh, they go out and they win 2 out of 3 on the road against the D-backs. So I was like, all right, feeling good. Then last night they get blown to smithereens against the Royals on national TV, by the way, on FS1. And right now they're losing 2-0. The offense. It's still early, but the offense looks as bad as it has been, and it's it's getting to the point where, and I mentioned it earlier, like at what point do you just say, you know what, we're just gonna sell, like we're just gonna sell off these pitchers. We're gonna sell Scooble. We're gonna sell Lang. We're gonna sell Foley. Maybe you sell any arms you can get. Something like this offense is so far behind what it should or what it should be to be a competitor that you basically got to not necessarily start over exactly, but you got to kind of you got to recalibrate something. Like this offense can't win you anything. It's too unreliable. I know some people will say, well, they scored 13 and 8 against the D-backs on the road. Okay. They do this. They do this a lot where they will randomly have a game where they score some runs on the year as a team. They're awful. Okay? Like now I'm going to pull it up, all right? Like where do they rank in home runs, for example? Let me find you. Where are they? Let's see. And 25th. 25th in home runs, 39. That is as much as the Cardinals, the Blue Jays, the Nationals. Yeah, where do they rank in batting average? I'm glad you asked. I'm glad you asked. Here's where they rank in team batting average. Oh yeah, they rank 19th. So I mean they've increased. They were like 25th like a week ago, but they're 19th right now. Which is not good. Their team batting average is 233, which is to say below league average. Uh, and in OPS, again, where do they stand? Oh boy, there they are. They're 20th, 674. Look, I can complain about the offense day in and day out, but in order to have some semblance of positivity, I guess I'll talk about Colt Keith because Colt Keith recently, very quietly, has been playing really good. His last 15 games, he's batting 350. He's got an over 800 OPS in those games as well. On the season, he has been very bad, but he might be starting to turn it around. And I'm not one to completely throw out any player one way or the other if they have a bad first month or even a first, month and a half. But I was getting a little impatient with Gold Keith because we signed this guy. Everybody like he rakes at every level. Same kind of story as Spencer Torkelson, and he looked like he was having a similar start. But he certainly turned it around. And if this offense is going to be anything resembling competent, he's got to be an above average player. He's got to be a contributor. He's got to go out and that sucks for him. He's 22 years old. Like this was a part of my problem with you know relying on this guy to begin with and not signing more bats. You got a 22-year-old, or you're like, hey, what are you doing? Our offense stinks. Come on, pick it up, Colt. It's like the guy just got his legal right to buy alcohol. Like I don't think he's ready to, be the offensive leader of your team. And if he is, then either he's the greatest thing since, Ty Cobb, or your team isn't very good. And meanwhile, that was a crazy hit by Garcia. Just sailed right over. I think that was Javi Baez there. Oh my gosh. I hate this team. I hate the Royals and I hate the Tigers even more somehow. The team I root for, I actually hate more. That's what's amazing. I want to say I had like a similar streak last year where like every time they were on and we do the show because we do the show on Tuesdays, like they would just lose. Like it was like always. And I don't know if this is continued. I'd have to look and see if that's been the case. But either way, Colt Keith, not only in the last 15 or in the last 15 games, He's been really good. And hopefully that's a sign of things to come. Hopefully that's the kind of thing we can come to expect from Tigers hitting prospects because we see Wentzil Perez. He comes up, he makes an immediate impact. Colt Keith, he's come up. He didn't make an immediate impact, but he made an impact. Meanwhile, that's a 3-run home run. And Bobby Witt Jr. just opened up the game, and that's basically the series. So that was fun, guys. It was fun while it lasted. Sixth home run for Bobby Witt, and I'm dead inside, basically. And speaking of being dead inside, I have to put out a PSA. All right, this is serious business. Somebody please help Reese Olson. Anybody. Reese Olson, okay? Probably one of the most underrated pitchers in the major leagues right now. He is 9th in ERA, okay? Where is he in strikeouts? Hold on. Let me see if I can find him. Wait, where is he? Maybe he isn't that high in strikeouts. We're going to ignore strikeouts. He is, oh wait, this is the wrong way. He is, Tony, where his whip probably dropped a little bit from yesterday. Where is he? Needless to say, all right, he's very good. Okay, he's very good. I don't know where. Maybe he's not showing up for some reason. I'm on ESPN, and I don't know. Sometimes it's goofy like that, but he's very good, and he's one of the few hitters with few pitchers with a sub-3 ERA and still an 0-4 record. He according to OptaStats on Twitter, Reese Olson is the only MLB pitcher to have a sub 2.25 ERA, but an 0-4 or worse record over his first 8 starts of a season since ERA became an official stat in both leagues in 1913. Huh? What? Huh? That is how bad this offense is. That is how bad. Because poor Reese Olson can't even. The guy could throw a damn near a perfect game. And this offense would say, you know what, Reese? We don't want you. We don't care about you. Go out, throw your little perfect game. We'll let the other guy throw a super perfect game, which I don't even know what that is. But it's got to be better than a perfect game because it's a super perfect. That's just science, right? That's just how that works. Like I am just I can't do it. I can't do it. Poor result. And then the worst part about it all. Yesterday night, I didn't even get to watch it. I just heard about it afterwards. Poor Reese Olson gets hit by a 100-mile-per-hour line drive to his culo, and he leaves the game. Now, luckily, apparently, he's not necessarily going to be like out long term or anything like that. But this poor guy cannot catch a break. Like it is beyond like parody at this point. This poor guy, he has the least run support in the majors. If I'm Reese Olson, I'm like, you know what? F you guys. Trade me. I can't do this. You traded to get me. Trade me away. I can't do this. Put me on a team with some bats. Trade me to Baltimore. Trade me to New York. Trade me to LA. I don't know. Trade me somewhere where players are actually getting on base and driving in runs. This is ridiculous. And look, the more and more this Tigers team loses, the more I'm like, you know what? Trade any and all of these arms. Trade any of them. Trade Olson. Trade Skubal. Trade Foley. Trade them. Like, this offense is this far behind, right? We clearly can develop pitching. I mean, we develop Olson. We develop Skubal. I know Mize having a bad game right now, but I think this is a little, it's not how he normally is going to be. Jack Flaherty has shown to be a pretty good piece. He's a guy on a 1-year deal you could get something for. Kenta Maeda's dead, but I don't really care about him. Like, you have a lot of arms. Go out this trade or even get ahead of the curve and just go out and start naming your price. Go out, ask for top of the line prospects, position players, everyday hitters in this lineup. Because if this is the kind of run support we're going to give any of these pitchers, we're going to give Ty Madden when he's ready, Jackson Jobe when he's ready, we might as well not even bring him up. Like, we might as well. Just let him play in Toledo. Let him win the Triple A championship, because that's the only championship they win in our system if that's the case, if we're not going to give them any run support, like with this team, where they're at, they're more than likely going to lose this game. They're down 5-0 in the bottom of the second. It's not great. It's still early, but it's not great. Assuming that they continue to just lose, like assuming they lose this series to Kansas City, either tonight or tomorrow, assuming they don't come back here. And then they got Toronto at home for 4 games. That should be a series that maybe you can get yourself back right. And you got Pittsburgh as well at home. I just you basically have to start playing perfect baseball down this stretch of the month because you're kind of playing yourself out of it. And it reminds me of when the Red Wings had that terrible month of December. And further, when they had that terrible month in March and going into April. It's like it wasn't just those late game where like we were in it. It's like no, like you had opportunities early on. I don't want a potential playoff berth for this team, which I don't know that they're really capable of, but if they are somehow able to be in a playoff chase near the end of the season, I do not want it to be within one game because those 1 or 2 games, those are the Marlins series that you got destroyed to. Those are those Yankee games that you blew. Those are those Guardian games that you blew. And hope if you can go out and not lose to the Blue Jays, but assuming you do lose to the Blue Jays, those are those games. Like every game counts the same, right? Like it's not as though, you can say, well, we'll just make up for it later. It's like you don't get that opportunity all the time. The Red Wings certainly didn't get it this year. Who's to say the Tigers will get it this year? I mean, please, this team hasn't made playoffs in a decade. I got no reason to trust this organization to make the right moves. Scott Harris, regardless of whether it's Scott Harris or not, nobody's been able to make the right move. So, on that happy note, the Tigers are they're just not all that good. And I think a lot of people thought maybe they were better than they were. They got a good pitching staff. They got good pitching development, but that's not going to get you very far. And these few games in this month of May, they've shown just how far that'll get you. Hey there, what you just watched was actually a clip from a larger show that we do every Tuesday night. What are you doing Tuesday night? Go ahead and hit the subscribe button and the like button so that you don't miss out on any more of our weekly shows every single Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Hope to see you there.